Champ down.
Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, Champ?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. That's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talking. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I was on a Formula One tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
Well, you've been on the tour.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Historian bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Mike, Rim, salute Mike. Salute to everybody, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Box Historian. Today, the Ali-Norton Trilogy. The Ali-Norton Trilogy. Has the family today. We are right back once again at the beginning of a big week of boxing history, and we are officially at the beginning of Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Bud Crawford fight week. All right. This time next week, we will be talking about it. But it's Trilogy Monday. We are going to look at another classic trilogy today. A big one. Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton. Keyoung Carr is in the building. Greetings. Right back to you, Keyoung Carr. Salute. Welcome aboard. Helping us start out another big week of boxing history with the trilogy. and we got a lot to get to. So guess what? We're going to jump right into our fight of the day. All right. So let's get started. Okay. The fight of the day today is Sugar Ray Leonard versus Wilfred Benitez, November 30th, 1979. Sugar Ray's first world title. Okay. Keon Carr says, Gene Kilroy said the hardest Muhammad Ali ever trained was for the Frazier 2 and Norton 2 rematches. And that's exactly correct, Keon Carr. We're going to talk about that during this trilogy today. Yeah, that second fight was the hardest. Ali was in the best shape of his life. Yeah, because he had lost that first one. And everything was on the line in that second one. He lose that one. We probably don't get no Thriller in Manila. None of that, you know? So yeah, that's 100% Keon Carr. That second Norton fight was especially about the best shape he was in. Well, let's get into the fight of the day so we can get to that historic trilogy. Leonard versus Benitez. Sugar Ray Leonard's first world title. Okay? Now, perhaps few people at the time realized it, but the title fight between Wilfred Radar Benitez and Sugar Ray Leonard at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, constituted an extremely rare phenomenon. A contest between truly gifted ring sophisticates. Prodigies like Benitez and Leonard are rare to begin with, and an even more unique circumstance it is. Something akin to Halley's Comet, to have two such virtuosos competing at the same time, in their primes, and in the same division. Yeah, Sugar Ray and Wilfred. This is before the bell. This was a stare down for the ages, right? Referee had to separate. Okay, the instructions is over. Go back to your corner and get ready. They didn't want to leave center ring for the stare down. Stare down for the ages. Shawa is in the building. What's up, Shawa? Yeah, we always do a classic trilogy on Mondays. Today, Ali-Norton. The salute, Shawa. Good to see you again today. All right, hope you enjoyed the show. Fight of the day is Sugar Ray Leonard, Wilfred Benitez. Sugar Ray's first title shot. He was going up against the youngest ever champion in boxing, still is to this day, Wilfred Benitez, 17 years old. Still the youngest ever boxer to win a world title. Okay. Yeah, I've seen, I didn't read it, Keon Carr, but I've glimpsed through that book. Yeah. The Fifth King, yeah, I got to read that. Now, Benitez versus Leonard represented a dream match for those enthralled by boxing guile. The cerebral side of the sport, you know, the use of the rapier that is defense and precision counterpunching, feigning and footwork, as opposed to the blunt hammer that is mere raw aggression and punching power. Sadly, the space-time continuum means the contest between Joe Gans and Benny Leonard, or Willie Pett and Pernell Whitaker, can never take place. Instead, we have Benitez versus Leonard, a very special and very rare confrontation between two brilliant craftsmen of the ring. Yeah, Benitez and Leonard, two of the best scientific boxers ever. Now, like prodigies in other sports, say like Federer in tennis or Jordan in basketball, Benitez and Leonard possessed such command over their bodies and reflexes that they performed as if under a different set of constraints. A prime Roger Federer made it seem as if the tennis ball slowed down for him, allowing extra time to direct his shots. And watching a prime Michael Jordan slam dunk the ball, it almost appears gravity bends slightly, giving him that extra second of wartime, of airtime. Yeah, Michael Jordan could fly. He could actually fly. I've seen it. In that 1988 All-Star game, the final was Michael Jordan and the guy from Atlanta. I can't think of his name, but that was the first time Mike did the takeoff from the free throw line. First time everybody saw him fly. Dominique Wilkins, right. Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, 1988 slam dunk contest, a classic. Okay. Yeah, it seemed like gravity bent slightly for Mike. For Benitez and Leonard, the equivalent otherworldly advantage was being able to visualize their opponent's punches in advance. Presciently, and in a split second, decide on a plan of action to both avoid being hit and to counter effectively. That is Benitez down in round 3 of this fight. Michael Ray, the second. What's up, Michael? How are you today? Man, I am tired of looking at Michael Ray coming on here in gray, so I got to put him in blue. I can give everybody a wrench. This is my channel. So Michael Ray is get ready to put his blue jeans on. Okay, there you go, Michael Ray. Salute. Good to see you today, Michael. Okay. Yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard Wilfred Benitez, the fight of the day. Yeah, Benitez was down in round 3. Now, Benitez, while only 21 years of age at this time, entered the ring as a WBC welterweight champion, but also as a 3-1 underdog. He had taken the belt from Carlos Palomino in January of that same year. But astonishingly, this title was his second. 3 years before that, he had become the youngest boxer to ever win a world championship, a record that still stands to this day. Monday, September 8th, 2025, Benitez is still the youngest, 17 years old. Tender age of 17, he won a decision over the tough veteran, Antonio Cervantes. Now, they called young Wilfred the Bible of boxing, or more fittingly, El Radar, for its uncanny ability to anticipate and avoid punches. Now, he wasn't a runner. He stood his ground, using upper body movement to make his opponents miss before countering with precision. Now, if he wanted to, he could fight at a distance behind his jab, but he wasn't afraid to trade on the inside in the pocket either, where he could flurry with abandon. Yeah, Wilfred was talented inside or outside in the pocket. Now, clash of heads was what caused that. Clash of heads left his mark on Benitez. Yeah, that wasn't from a punch. That was clearly a clash of heads right there. But it's not in a bad place. It's right down in between the eyes. So yeah, fight continued. That didn't stop it. But it was a bad cut. Over one of the eyes, that would have been stopped. Now Leonard, the Olympic gold medalist, media darling, and hawker of 7-Up, stepped through the ropes with a record of 25-0. Underneath the Madison Avenue veneer was a boxer of tremendous natural gifts, astonishing hand speed, excellent mobility, cobra-like reflexes, and terrific power. Leonard had been guided brilliantly by Angelo Dundee. Instead of a series of no-hope stiffs, his record comprised wins over such capable pugilists as Adolfo Varriet, Fernando Marcotte, Floyd Mayweather Sr., and Pete Ranzani. This was Leonard's first attempt at a world title, and the eyes of the nation were watching the fight. It was broadcast live on ABC in prime time, with the incomparable Howard Cosell providing the ringside commentary. Yeah, Howard. My ambition is not to be just a good fighter, said Leonard before the fight. I want to be something great, something special. But first, he had to overcome the tricky puzzle that was Wilfred Benitez. The fight, following one of the greatest stare-downs in boxing history, proved highly tactical. A duel between Leonard's left hand and Benitez's right lead. The early rounds belonged to the challenger, Leonard. In the opening stanza, Ray rocked Benitez with a left hook, and in the third, a flush jab put the champion on the seat of his pants. But the knockdown seemed to wake up Benitez. In the fourth round, he found the range for his right hand while making the challenger miss, and suddenly, Sugar Ray could not find his man. Now, while Leonard's aggressiveness allowed him to steal rounds, yeah, Sugar Ray was famous for that, and Leonard's aggressiveness allowed him to steal rounds, Benitez was the one slipping shots and countering. In the sixth round, they clashed heads, opening a cut on Wolfer's forehead. In Leonard's corner, Angelo Dundee pleaded with Ray to neglect the elusive target that was Benitez's head and instead attack the body. Yeah, Ray was going after that cut, but Angelo said, go after the body, you know. Go after the body, Sugar Ray. Yeah, this was a tactical duel between ring virtuosos. Go downstairs, the veteran trainer Angelo Dundee shouted. You can't stand in front of him and hit him with a right hand. Forget the right hand. In the ninth round, Leonard forced Benitez to the ropes and connected with a flurry of punches. And in the 11th round, he stung Benitez with the hook. Still, he could not assert himself the way he had in his previous fights. It was in the late going that Leonard finally opened up a sizable lead. And while the fight was already a classic, round 15 proved an especially thrilling finale. Benitez, sensing he needed a knockout to win, took the fight to Leonard, attacking with a series of left hooks. Leonard responded in kind, and for 2 solid minutes, it was toe-to-toe warfare, both men connecting and the crowd going berserk. Yeah, that 15 round was a classic. Yeah, that's Carlos Padilla, the referee, fiddling the end with just 6 seconds left in the final round. Then, with the final bell approaching, Leonard struck with a hard left, and Benitez hit the canvas for the second time. He rose. The cocky smile of defiance he showed earlier now a grin of resignation, and more fatigued than hurt, retreated to the ropes as Leonard attacked. Moments later, the referee, Carlos Padilla, stopped the fight, and Howard Cosell rejoiced. Sugar Ray Leonard had claimed his first world championship. And remember, Padilla stopped it with 6 seconds left in the fight. But Sugar Ray was well ahead on all the cards anyway. On the undercard of Benitez versus Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler had challenged for the middleweight title. The judges somehow scoring his 15-round clinic against Vito Antuofermo a draw. That fight was on that undercard. That controversial draw between Hagler and Antuofermo, yep, it was on that undercard. Now, earlier the same day, Thomas Hearns had decision tough Mike Colbert, knocking him down 3 times. Within months, both Hagler and Hearns would capture world titles, while Roberto Duran would defeat Leonard to win his second world title. The era of the Four Kings had begun. Hearns fought earlier that same day of Leonard and Benitez. And the era of Duran had beat Leonard earlier before that, and the era of the Four Kings had begun. That was an historic victory for Leonard, his first world title. And perhaps its most significant supporting cast member was Wilfred Benitez, who would best beat Duran before losing to Hearns and Leonard. Now, Leonard, however, refused to grant him a rematch. This, no doubt, had much to do with the competitiveness of their fight and the fact Ray had never confronted such a naturally gifted boxer. It was tough. I was looking into a mirror, marveled Leonard at the post-fight press conference. No one can make me miss like Benitez did. Benitez fought 3 of the 4 Kings. He lost to Leonard and Hearns, but he beat Duran. That was his greatest triumph. That was in 1982. So, in fact, only 2 men would defeat Benitez while he was in his prime, Hearns and Leonard. This despite the fact that, incredibly, the Puerto Rican superstar rarely trained with proper consistency and focus. Who knows what Benitez might have accomplished had he possessed more than a modicum of self-discipline and truly dedicated himself to his craft. Instead, the youngest world champion of all time would become one of boxing's saddest stories, while Leonard went on to become one of his brightest stars. There you have it, the fight of the day, Leonard Benitez. And there's your winner of the fight of the day, Sugar Ray Leonard. Okay, all right, so let's go to the Ali-Norton trilogy now. Okay, first, we are going to just do a little summary of the trilogy to start out, okay? We're just going to summarize it, okay? Bear with me for 1 second, please. We're going to do a little summary of it first, of the 3 fights, before we get into them too deep. Okay, I needed a little bit more light. The lighting was kind of bad, but that's better. Okay, let's do a little summary of the trilogy first before we get into it, okay? Ali-Norton trilogy. All right. How's everybody this Monday afternoon? Back at the beginning of another big week of boxing history. We officially have started the fight week for Canelo and Bud coming up Saturday. So, wow. Plus, we can't forget Monster and MJ is also this weekend. That will probably be the better fight of the 2, I think. So, big weekend of boxing coming up. I'm excited. Okay, the Ali-Norton trilogy. Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton fought 3 times between 1973 and 1976, with Ali winning 2 of the fights and Norton winning 1. Now, Norton's victory in their first fight, a split decision in 1973, was a major upset that broke Ali's jaw and handed him only his second career loss. Now, Ali won the rematch in 1973, and their final fight, the rubber match in 1976. So, many observers felt Norton deserved the decision in the third fight. Now, so let's take a quick look at it. Fight number 1, March 31st, 1973. Ken Norton won by split decision. This was a massive upset, as Norton was a significant underdog coming in. He broke Ali's jaw during the fight, a pivotal moment in Ali's career. Okay, fight number 2, September 26, 1973. Muhammad Ali won by unanimous decision. Ali avenged his loss to Norton, though the fight was still a tough contest. fight number 3, September 28th, 1976. Muhammad Ali won by unanimous decision. This was the final fight of their trilogy. Many commentators and fans believe Norton had done enough to win, but the judges awarded the fight to Ali, who retained his world title. And in later years, after Ali had retired, Ali himself admitted he thought Norton had won. And he didn't say that night, but later on in his life, he did say that. Now, key aspects of this trilogy: Norton's style. Norton's awkward style, great jab, and defensive guard proved difficult for Ali to handle, making him a formidable opponent. Controversial decisions. The first and third fights were particularly controversial, with many feeling the judges' decisions did not reflect the action in the ring. Rivalry. The trilogy cemented Norton as one of Ali's most significant rivals, with these 3 classic fights being a major part of Ali's legendary career. Okay, so now let's take a look at the 2 fighters. Then we're going to get into the fight. I'm going to get it right. Turn the light on over there, but give me a little glare, but okay. Let's look at the 2 fighters now. Look at the 2 opponents before we get into the fights. Okay. Ali-Norton. Yep. Fight week. Bud and Canelo. Man. A lot of what ifs in this fight, you know. A lot of things can happen. Bud gonna be his usual slick self with the added weight on him. Will Canelo wear him down with that power? But we are going to see this weekend. We will see. Here we're going to take a look at Muhammad Ali first. But how was everybody's weekend? I didn't see any fights this weekend. I thought it was like 3 cards, but I wasn't sure. Bear with me for one moment, please. We're getting ready to take a look at the greatest and why he is considered the greatest right now. But appreciate everybody that's in the building so far. Just about there. All right, there we go. Here we got Michael Ray II, Shawa, Keon Carr, Mike Rim, and Miss Cass. So far. And Shawa says, the records this past weekend, I enjoyed them. Yeah, I missed them all, Shawa. I sure did. Man, I knew it was. It was like 3. Something like that, yeah. I knew it was. I'm not going to miss this weekend, though. I guarantee you that. No way. No boxing fan is going to miss Bud and Canelo. This is huge. Okay. This will be tragic. Okay, Keon Carr says, there we go. I watched Troy Williamson versus Mark Dickinson for the English middleweight title on Saturday on the Zone. Very good fight. And Shava says, I try to report weekly the upcoming fights. Okay, Shava. You have a certain time, Shava? Because I caught you a couple times. You have a certain time that you come on? Let us know so we can be on the lookout. Yeah. I know those updates are fire that you give on those reports you give on the weekly fights. Okay, let's take a look at Muhammad Ali. Now, these are the top 12 reasons why Muhammad Ali is forever the greatest. Okay? Top 12 reasons why Muhammad Ali is forever the greatest. Let's take a look at them. Then we're going to take a look at Norton, and we're going to get into the 3 fights. Now, Muhammad Ali's death in 2016 caused the entire pugilistic world to stop and reflect upon the far-reaching legacy of a fighter who was truly bigger than boxing. Without a doubt, Muhammad Ali will forever stand as one of the most influential and famous figures in the entire history of sport, not just boxing, of sport as a whole. For those not entirely clear as to why Ali commanded such respect and meant so much to so many, consider this list a sort of primer on the greatness of the man they call the greatest. There's never been, and likely never will be, an athlete like Muhammad Ali. He was a truly great boxer, but he was also a truly important world figure. Here are the reasons why he assumed such magnitude and had a profound impact on both boxing and the culture at large. Okay, we're going to take a deep look at Muhammad Ali now. I mean, a deep one. Okay, number 12. He was a fighting champion. Unlike so many elite level boxers of today, Muhammad Ali wanted to establish himself as a truly great boxer, and he knew to do so meant staying active. To put his activity level into perspective, consider that in the span of 5 years, from 1970 to 1975, he answered the bell 22 times, in the process giving sports fans his trilogy with Joe Frazier, 2 of his tough battles with Ken Norton, his unforgettable knockout over George Foreman, and wins over a host of elite level contenders, including Jerry Quarry, Oscar Bonavena, Jimmy Ellis, George Chuvalo, and Ron Lau. Meanwhile, now Ali fought 22 times in a 5-year span. Now, meanwhile, from 2010 to 2015, Vladimir Klitschko competed 12 times. Floyd Mayweather Jr. just 9, okay? To put it in perspective. Same period time frame, Ali fought 25 times. That's battling the tough George Chuvalo. One of 6 fights he had in 1972 right there. And George Chuvalo has the greatest chin of all time. Number 11, speed. There's little doubt that a prime Ali was the fastest heavyweight to have ever stepped through the ropes. His quickness and mobility was a revelation in the 1960s. Big men simply did not move like that. His amazing speed and reflexes allowed him to introduce a level of artistry and elegance to heavyweight boxing, which changed the public's perception of the sport and pioneered new tactics and techniques. Years past his prime, Ali still enjoyed a decided speed advantage over most of his opponents, a testament to his astonishing athleticism. There he is right there. He was in training for the fight against George Foreman in Zaire. Right there. Number 10. Chin. One of the ironies of the career of Muhammad Ali is that for years, the old-timers questioned his courage and toughness. They watched him dance and slip punches and concluded if he was ever hit squarely by a serious puncher, he would fold up like a cheap suitcase. how wrong they were. In fact, Ali proved too tough for his own good. Precious few boxers in the history of the sport have withstood the kind of firepower Ali took from Frazier, Norton, Foreman, Shavers, and Holmes. Ali was knocked down only 4 times in his career by Sonny Banks, Henry Cooper, Joe Frazier, and Chuck Webner. And it should be noted, the Webner knockdown was the result of Webner stepping on Ali's foot at the same moment he landed a punch. Okay? That's the first fight with Joe Frazier, fight of the century, taking that left hook from Frazier. That's one of the most famous punches in history. Frazier caught him with that left hook. I believe it was the 15th round and put Ali down. Now, number 9, Ali was a true world champion. Few boxers have fulfilled the title of world champion the way Ali did, instead of staying moored in one's home country or in Las Vegas, like so many titles of recent years. The greatest tracked about the globe, boxing in such diverse localities as Switzerland, Malaysia, Ireland, Japan, Canada, Germany, the Philippines, and of course, Zaire. In the process, cementing his status as a figure of global significance. Yeah, a true world champion. Then we had the Sonny Liston situation. Yeah, from the UK, yeah, there's a time difference, right? Here on call. Oh, okay, Chavez, you just pop up. Okay. I guess you just have to put your notifications on. Right. Okay. Sonny Liston situation. Charles Sonny Liston was a true fearsome heavyweight, incredibly strong and powerful. In 1964, he was regarded as just shy of invincible. An aura of menace surrounded this ex-con and former suspected leg breaker for the mob. His reputation was so dark that many were of the conviction he did not merit the opportunity to fight for the world title. Despite the fact he had defeated virtually every viable contender prior to facing champion Floyd Patterson. He then demolished Patterson inside of 1 round. In the rematch, he did the same. And then it came to Ali. He was thought to be invincible until he came up against Ali. He was known as Cassius Clay's end. Thus, many were predicting a long and dominant championship reign for Liston. And when he agreed to face the undefeated Cassius Clay in his first title defense, virtually every boxing pundit and expert foresaw an easy win for Liston. Instead, despite some underhanded tactics by Liston's corner, which saw Clay temporarily blinded during the fight, the brash young challenger shook up the world and completely outclassed Liston, compelling him to quit on his stool after round 6. This man everybody thought was invincible, Cassius Clay made him quit on his stool. The return. He had 3 years out of the ring in the middle of his prime. Elite level athletes rarely come back after a lengthy layoff to reestablish themselves as the best of the best. Does anyone think that Sidney Crosby or LeBron James or Tom Brady could sit out 3.5 seasons and then just pick up where they left off? Amazingly, after Ali finally won the right to return to boxing, he took on no soft touches, no tune-ups, but instead faced 2 dangerous top contenders. His first fight back was Jerry Quarry, and at that time, Jerry Quarry was the 3rd ranked heavyweight in the world. Only 2 heavyweights thought to be better than Jerry Quarry was Joe Frazier and Jimmy Ellison. That was Ali's first fight back after 3 years off. And then Oscar Bonavena. And then the champion, Joe Frazier, defeating the first 2 and giving Smoking Joe the toughest fight of his career up to that point. Incredible. That's why he's the greatest. Yeah, that's him and Quarry. After 40 months out of the ring, he came back against the number 3 ranked heavyweight in the world. Okay? Ali Frazier. That was the fight of the century there, Shaw. Let me tell you how iconic that was. That fight was so iconic. March 8th, 1971. On the 30-year anniversary, March 8th, 2001, this fight was so iconic. Their 2 daughters fought to celebrate the 30-year anniversary. It don't get no more iconic than that. The men's 2 daughters fought. That's iconic, right? The Louisville Lip. Early in his career, Ali witnessed professional wrestler Gorgeous George perform and realized that being loud, brash, and boastful attracts attention and sells tickets. Thus, the Louisville Lip was born. But the significance of Ali's rapping and rhyming went beyond stealing the limelight and bringing a renewed focus to the sport of boxing. For a young black man to be so cocky and outspoken in the 1960s was nothing short of revolutionary. And with the aid of his natural charisma and wit, Ali introduced a whole new dimension to the idea of black pride. And it must be noted that he did not indulge in mere mindless name-calling and trash talk, but went out of his way to offer intriguing opinions and insights on a wide range of topics as he recited poetry, quoted verses from the Quran, performed on Broadway, and gave speeches at universities. Did all that. There's one of his rhymes. He ready to fight Archie Moore. He said, "More in 4." Okay, more in 4. Okay, so Joe Frazier's situation. After Ali had been stripped of his world title and banned from boxing in 1967, it took time for the heavyweight division to find a worthy successor. But by 1970, Smoking Joe Frazier had established himself as one of the most relentless and powerful big men fight fans had ever seen. Like a giant-sized Henry Armstrong, Frazier applied constant pressure, breaking down his opponents with a non-stop attack, and maybe the best left hook in boxing history. Ali and Frazier were a steady in contrast, while being virtual equals in terms of strength, courage, and will to win, all of which made for an unforgettable rivalry. Frazier was victorious in their first great battle in 1971, one of the most significant fights ever, and a fight which not only transcended boxing, but sports itself. Ali won the next 2 clashes. Ali's performances against Joe Frazier in all 3 meetings are testament to his ring greatness and constitute a huge part of his legacy. Yeah, those Joe Frazier fights. Neither would have been what they were without the other, Ali or Frazier. Neither would have been what they were without the other. That's the thriller in Manila there, in the trench. Ali and Smoking Joe. Number 4, an all-time great competitor. And when it came to competing, Ali was old school, which is to say, that while much of what Ali brought to boxing was new and unique, when it came to his chosen profession, Ali was not so different from the great battlers of decades past, who loved to fight, loved to win, and wanted to prove themselves against the best competition available. It just so happened that Ali came along during the heavyweight division's golden age. Never before or since have there been so many big, tough, capable boxers in that weight class at one time, and Ali fought them all. He ducked no one, nor did he marinate matches or wait for anyone to get old or stale. Instead, the second someone challenged him or questioned his supremacy, he responded as all truly great competitors do and sought to prove himself against them. Call Ali out if you want to. You got to fight him. Okay? Now there's him and Kenny Norton. We're going to get to that in a few minutes. Then we get to the George Foreman situation, Big George. Now, there's no doubt about the ring greatness of Big George Foreman. Any sensible ranking of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time has to put Big George in the top 10. And in 1974, George was regarded, like Sonny Liston 10 years before him, as unbeatable. Boxing insiders knew he was mortal, and some gave the Cajun Ali a decent chance to pull off a huge upset in 1974, but almost none were picking Muhammad outright, while many fans of the greatest feared for Ali's life. After all, and in George Foreman's dressing room before that fight, George Foreman and his team got on their knees and prayed they didn't kill Ali that night in the ring. They actually did that. They prayed they didn't kill Ali, right? But nobody was picking Ali to win this fight. Because, after all, the two formidable heavyweights who had beaten Ali, Norton and Frazier, had been demolished with ease by Big George. How could an aging Ali defeat a younger, stronger, and more powerful opponent? And yet he did. It remains one of the most significant fights in boxing history for both Ali's performance and its many cultural and political implications. This is the great triumph that transformed Muhammad Ali from a famous boxer and an important figure in the civil rights and anti-war movement to a genuine living legend. Yeah, the Foreman fight. Yeah, that made him larger than life when he went in there and did that. But nobody expected that. So the Foreman's team prayed George didn't go in there and kill him, right? But he shocked the world. Just 10 years after he had done it against Liston. Number 2, political and cultural impact. Books can and have been written on Ali's influence beyond sports. He was a leading figure during the upheaval of the 1960s in America, a prominent and outspoken critic of American society, an anti-war activist, arrested for refusing the draft and denied his right to box during his prime years, a world figure for becoming a Muslim and changing his name. There's no way to overstate the significance of all this. For a young, prominent black man to change his name and religion and loudly proclaim his anti-establishment views in the 1960s, well, let's put it this way. During a time when Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm X, and Fred Hampton were all assassinated, it's probably fortunate that Ali too wasn't murdered, right? And after his boxing career had ended, he continued to be a force for social change as he rejected the dogma of the black Muslims, advocated for reconciliation and cultural harmony, raised awareness for Parkinson's disease, and even rescued hostages from Iraq in 1990. Yeah, he did all that. When the president of the United States couldn't even get him out, Ali went over there and got him. Got him freed. Uncle Dre finest in the building. What's up, Uncle Dre? Yeah, we're taking a look at the Ali-Norton trilogy today, Uncle Dre, and we're just looking at the two fighters. Ali first. The salute. Uncle Dre finest in the building. Always a pleasure and an honor to see Uncle Dre. Nothing but love and respect for that brother. Salute, Uncle Dre. Okay, we're finishing up Ali, then we're going to talk about Norton. Okay, that's Ali speaking at a mosque in 1967. I think that's around the time where he had just got lost his license and everything. And finally, a people's champion. Finally, the story of Muhammad Ali is that of a man of conviction and faith who is beloved by millions and who in turn loved nothing better in life than connecting with as many of those people as he could. Ali loved people and refused to cut himself off from the press or the public. His training camps were always open to visitors, and it was the extremely rare request for an interview that he declined. Now, while Floyd Mayweather Jr. disembarks from his private jets far away from the public and surrounded by a platoon of mammoth goons. Even at the height of his fame, Ali only ever employed one single bodyguard and never hesitated from mingling with his admirers wherever he happened to be at. And that was in Zaire. I think that was when he was over there getting prepared for Foreman. That picture there. And while boxers today may refrain from discussing their personal lives or avoid making themselves available to the media, Ali did the opposite. He loved answering questions and being challenged by interviewers and held nothing back. His integrity, the fact he stood for something bigger than boxing, along with his openness, sense of humor, and natural charisma, all coalesced with his ring success to make him a superstar. Books, television specials, comics, games, toys, movies, plays, video games, accolades and tributes from people like James Brown, Diana Ross, Madonna, Norman Mailer, honorary degrees from universities, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, a museum and cultural center established in his name in Louisville, Kentucky, the Olympic flame lit by his trembling hand in 1996. Ali became and will forever be larger than life. Yes, boxing was the springboard to all this, but the man's influence will continue to be about much more than sports. Ali was and is the people's champion, and his legacy will no doubt outlive all of us. The greatest, Muhammad Ali. Okay, let's take a look at Ken Norton. Then we're going to talk about the fights. Okay, take a look at Kenny real quick. But you appreciate everybody in the building so far. Bear with me 1 second. We're going to take a look at Ken Norton. Okay. All right, let's take a look at Kenny. And then we're going to get into these three fights. We're going to get it in. All right, Ken Norton. Here we'll take a look at the two combatants in the trilogy first. Now, Ken Norton is often regarded as one of the notable heavyweights in boxing history, particularly for his unique style and significant victories. Now, he's best known for his fights against Muhammad Ali, including the famous fight in 1973, where he handed Ali his first defeat in nearly 4 years and only the second in his career. Norton was a powerful fighter with a distinctive jab and an ability to absorb punishment, which made him a formidable opponent. Now, in terms of all-time rankings, opinions vary. Many boxing historians place Ken in the top 20 or 30 heavyweights, considering factors such as his fighting style, key victories, and the era in which he fought. Now, his career record of 42 wins, 7 losses, 1 no contest, 33 knockouts, along with championships in the WBC and the NABF, solidifies his status as an all-time great. Yes, it does. Yeah, Ken didn't have a bad knockout ratio either. I don't know why I always have to figure one, but he had 33 knockouts in 42 fights. That's a knockout ratio of 78.5%, right around 80. Now, while Ken may not be in the top tier alongside legends like Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis, or Mike Tyson, he is certainly respected as a significant figure in the heavyweight division, particularly for his contributions to the sport and his competitive spirit. Now, let's look at this before we start on this trilogy. Okay. Now, what were the main reasons for Ken Norton's popularity during his career? Jarrell Hattie. What's up, Jarrell? Chava says Norton was a beautiful man. Yeah, he had a nice personality and everything, yeah. You know, his son played for the Dallas Cowboys, too. What was it, like 90s? I think Ken Norton Jr. was on there when they won that back-to-back, wasn't he? Remember the Cowboys had that, didn't they have a 3-peat? I believe Ken Norton Jr. was on the team then. Yeah. Now, Ken Norton's popularity during his boxing career can be attributed to several factors. Where's Kensaw Love one at, Jarrell? Damn. Everybody hit the like. I didn't even hit the like myself. Like and subscribe, please. Okay. Oh, there's Kensaw Love one came in before Jarrell. Salute Kensaw Love one and Jarrell Hattie. Two of my most favorite people right there. Good to see y'all today. It's Monday. We officially have started fight week for Bud and Canelo coming up this weekend. Now, number one, this is some of the factors that made Ken so popular. Number one was defeating Muhammad Ali. Norton's victory over Ali in 1973 was a defining moment in his career. This upset not only boosted his profile significantly, but also showcased his skills against one of the greatest boxers of all time. Number two, his unique fighting style. Norton was known for his unconventional stance and powerful jab, which set him apart from many of his contemporaries. His ability to absorb punches and counter effectively made him a compelling fighter to watch. Like Sharper was saying. Number three, charismatic personality. Right? Sharper just said he was a beautiful person. And that's one of the things that made him so popular, his charismatic personality. Norton's charismatic and engaging personality helped him connect with fans. He was articulate and often shared his thoughts on boxing and life, making him relatable and likable. Number four, strong work ethic. Norton's dedication to training and improving his skills resonated with fans and aspiring boxers. His commitment to the sport demonstrated that hard work could lead to success. His high-profile fights. Now, throughout his career, he engaged in several high-profile fights, not just against Ali. He also had fights against top contenders like George Foreman and Larry Holmes. And those fights drew significant attention and contributed to Norton's fame and his crossover appeal. Norton transcended boxing to some extent, appearing in films and on television. He was in Mandingo, remember? Which broadened his audience beyond just boxing fans, and his resilience and comeback. After facing setbacks in his career, including losses, Norton's ability to come back and remain competitive kept him in the spotlight and maintained public interest in his journey. These factors combined to create a lasting legacy and popularity for Ken Norton in the boxing world. Okay? All right, so let's look at these three fights. Let's look at the trilogy. Okay? Start with number one, right? Norton Ali won. Now, me personally, I've been looking at these fights off and on for like 40 years, man, and I have never one time looked at any of these three fights and gave it to Ali. Never, not once. I don't know, lost track of how many times I've been watching these fights since they happened in the 70s, and not once have I gave Ali any of them. Closest was the second. I might have gave him a draw, but no, I don't think Ali beat Norton. None, not once. I really don't. And you know how you watch fights when the judges make the decision and you watch them trying to go along with the judges, even trying to give one to Ali. I just can't do it. And I liked Ali, but I just, I never seen him beat Ken Norton. I thought Norton. And then the third fight, they had a group of sportscasters going along with the judges, and most of the sportscasters, newspaper writers gave the fight to Norton. But, the three judges gave it to Ali, and that's what counts, right? Unanimously, too. But see, one thing, we're going to talk about it when the fight come up. Yeah. Norton cost himself in the third, but we'll get to it. But let's get to one. Ali versus Norton 1. The greatest loses the battle of broken jaw. That's what they called this fight, the battle of broken jaw. Yeah, this was the one where Ken broke his jaw, remember? Yeah, right there. That's Norton and Joe Frazier and the great Eddie Futch, who trained both of them. And as a matter of fact, Eddie Futch, Ali got 5 losses in his career. Eddie Futch was the opposing trainer for 4. When he lost to Norton, Frazier, Holmes, and Burbick. The only one he lost to Spinks, Eddie Futch was not the trainer in that one. But 4 of Ali's losses, Eddie Futch was in the opposing corner. So Eddie Futch knew him very well. Yes, he did. And that's Eddie Futch, see him on the left over there. And Norton and Frazier never fought. They pulled the friendship card. Way back then, they talk about the friendship card. We're friends. We can't fight each other. Come on. I got to hear to myself. Joe and Kenny. But they never fought. That would have been a great matchup there. Ken Norton and Joe Frazier. Wow. I would have went with Frazier, though. Yeah. Frazier just, you put competitor in the dictionary, you put a picture of Joe Frazier beside it. That's why he had so much trouble with Foreman in those 2 fights, because he just had a terrible style matchup for Foreman. Because Frazier going to be right there in your face, man. And he just had too much to go through against Big George. They fought twice. And the first fight was 2 rounds, the second one 5, a total of 7 rounds. Frazier went down 8 times in those 2 fights, 7 rounds. So yeah, that's a terrible matchup. Styles make fights, and that one was just terrible for Smoking Joe. Okay, but Ali versus Norton 1, March 31st, 1973. Ali loses the battle of the broken jaw. That was what they called this one, the battle of the broken jaw. Okay. So few deny that Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, perhaps even the greatest. And a major part of the evidence for that claim is the fact that during his prime, only 2 men defeated him, both terrific fighters in their own right. One was Joe Frazier, his arch rival, the man who sent Ali to hell and back in both their first great battles in 1971 and again in the monumental Thriller in Manila. But if Ali was the Superman of the heavyweight division in the 1970s, the other boxer who could rightfully claim to be his kryptonite was, of course, Ken Norton. Yeah, there's that picture again. And I put it up there too soon. Norton, Frazier, and the great Eddie Futch. Yep. Yeah, Eddie Futch trained both of them. Now, if they had a fought, Eddie wouldn't have been in either corner. That's how Eddie did it, because when who was it? We just talked about it last week too. Eddie Futch trained Larry Holmes and I forgot who else. We talked about it last week. And Eddie Futch, Michael Spinks. Eddie Futch said, "I'm out of it. Both of y'all got to get a new trainer for this fight." He didn't train either one of them, because he trained both of them and he wasn't going to pick one over the other. So, I don't know who they got, but Eddie wasn't in either corner. Okay. Now, Norton's ability to give Ali fits in all 3 of their classes is evidence of the truth behind one of boxing's most overused cliches, the famous saying that styles make fights. But the simple fact is, some boxers simply have a style which causes all kinds of problems for a pugilist who is otherwise superior. For example, no one in their right mind would argue that Iran Barkley deserves to be regarded as a greater fighter than Thomas Hearns. But the record shows that Iran Barkley beat Thomas Hearns twice. Barkley just had Hearns' number, and that cannot be denied. And both times he took titles from Hearns. Yeah, the Blade beat the Hitman twice. Took his title both times. I think one was at junior middleweight, one was at super middleweight. Yeah, he just had the Hitman's number. In the same way, Norton's name is hardly uttered in any serious debate about the greatest heavyweights of all time. And yet, he not only gave Ali serious difficulties, but came very close to winning all three of their meetings, which I think he did. But officially came very close to shutting Ali out, 3-0. And they had talked about an Ali-Norton 4. Ali retired. Ali said, I do not have a Ken Norton 4 in me. After the Leon Spinks fight 2, when Ali got his title back, they were in talks for a Ken Norton 4. That was Ali's first retirement. He admitted, I do not have a 4th Ken Norton fight in me. Ali didn't want to get back in there with Ken Norton no more. Ken Norton gave him fits. Ali's long struggle with Ken Norton, one lasting 39 tough, punishing rounds through 3 fights, began in Norton's hometown of San Diego, California. Norton was a relative unknown and a huge underdog, but from the opening bell, his jerky movement, tricky defense, and effective left jab gave the former champion pause. Now, they had faced each other before in sparring one time, and Norton gave Ali a tough time in the sparring. And then Ali came back mad the next day and wanted to spar Norton again, but Eddie Futz said, hell no. He said, yesterday you want to spar, but today you want to fight. So I ain't putting my man back in there. Eddie Futz said, the next time Ken Norton get in the ring with you, ain't going to be no sparring. He going to get paid for it. Okay? But yeah, anyway, Norton gave him fits. The fact Ali was in for a much tougher fight than anyone anticipated was clear as early as the second round, a round which saw Norton score with several looping left hooks, as well as some stiff jabs and lead right hands. Norton outlanded Ali in the second round, 34-12, right? While connecting at a much higher percentage, 63%, Ali at 26%. Yeah, Norton beat him down in the second round. Everybody was like, oh, luck. This might not be what we thought it was, right? After that second round, everybody sit up straight. BBO Sports TV in the building. Yeah, they robbed Kenny, BBO. BBO, no. Ali ain't never beat him, did he, BBO? I had Norton 3-0. I don't know how many times I watched these fights over the last 40 years. Yeah. And I've watched them trying to get one out to Ali. I just never. The second fight, I might could give Ali a draw, but not the win. But salute, BBO, from the Sports Talk Network. Yeah, the second one. Right, BBO. Maybe the second one. Maybe the second one. And that's maybe. Right? Okay, but anyway. Yeah, 39 rounds through over 3 fights. And in that second round, that's when everybody set up like, wow, this might not be what we thought it was. Now, Ali reversed the tide in the third round, circling the ring on his toes, flicking out his jab, and showing the skills that made him so successful. His movement flummoxed Norton, who had difficulty cutting off the ring. This proved to be a pattern of the fight. When Ali used his stick and move tactics, he was effective. But when he elected to stand and trade, he paid a high price for it. Yeah. Yeah, and Norton kept Ali on the defense for much of the fight. Like that picture right there. Wait a minute. I went right past I wanted to be at. Bear with me for a minute. Yeah, there we go. Right there. I don't know what I did. Yeah, Norton kept him on the defense, like that picture right there. At the start of round 6, ringside commentator Howard Cosell summarized the fight to that point. He said, either Kenny Norton is a much smarter, much better fighter than anybody thought, or Muhammad Ali has gone back a lot more than one could have reasonably believed. Howard said, either Kenny is better or Ali has faded a lot more than everybody thought. But in retrospect, it was unfair to Norton to say his success was due to Ali's apparent lethargy or supposed decline. Simply put, Norton deserved tremendous credit for getting into peak condition, boxing with great poise and discipline, and executing Eddie Futch's game plan to perfection. I told y'all 4 of Ali's 5 losses was by Eddie Futch trained fighters. Okay? 4 of them. So Eddie Futch knew Ali. Yes, he did. Ali managed a resurgence in round 8 as he got on his bicycle again and stayed one step ahead of Norton. Now, despite not landing damaging blows, Ali's savvy ring skills were evident as he took control of the pace and prevented Norton from cornering him. But the ex-champion's success proved fleeting as Norton had one of his best rounds in the 9th round, snapping Ali's head back with a hard left jab while blocking or slipping the lead left of Ali's. Norton was also able to put Ali to the ropes and drive home some vicious body blows, going on to outland Ali 30-9 in the 9th round. Another big round for Norton, 30-9. And they did give Norton this fight. I mean, it wasn't no way they was going to steal that one. No way. They would have had a riot in there if they would have tried this, because Norton clearly won that one. Now, by round 12, it was clear to anyone watching with attention that a massive upset was about to happen, that Muhammad Ali needed a knockout to win. But despite his points lead, Norton closed the show. That's significant. Remember that first fight, he kept his foot on the gas and finished with the same aggression and fearlessness he had demonstrated throughout the fight. In the final round, he forced the fight and pursued Ali to the ropes, where he struck to the body with heavy punches. And with a minute left, he landed with authority a left hook right hand combination. Norton put an exclamation point on the fight, outworking and outpunching the former champion. In complete command at the final bell, Norton finished strong. He took nothing for granted in that first fight. Okay. Despite this, hearing the official decision go to the underdog was still a shock for sports fans everywhere. Though the punch stats clearly supported the judge's verdict, with Norton landing 233 total punches to Ali's 171. See, they couldn't steal that one. It was just too wide. It was a huge upset and a result that showed that no matter how brilliant a boxer may be, there's always someone, somewhere, with the style and strategy to beat the unbeatable. There was also the fact that Ali was by all accounts in less than prime condition, while Norton had whipped himself into the best shape of his career. And he followed perfectly the plan set out by his prolific trainer, the brilliant Eddie Futch, the man who was also the strategic mastermind behind Ali's loss to Smoking Joe Frazier. Yeah, Eddie was in the corner 4 out of 5 Ali's total loss. It is the winner of fight number 1. I keep getting out of order, man. Bear with me. Yeah, there's the winner of the first fight, Kenny Norton. Now, in a memorable moment after the fight, Howard Cosell, now listen to this. In a memorable moment after the fight, Howard Cosell, who had given Kenny Norton no chance to win, told Norton in the post-fight interview, "Kenny, you made me look silly." Norton responded, "That's okay, Howard. You always look silly." I remember that Norton told him, "You always look silly, Howard." Now, following the fight, it was revealed that Norton had broken Ali's jaw. And when exactly the injury occurred is impossible to know for certain. Though Ali in his corner always insisted it happened in the second round. I don't believe that. If true, the feat of competing for 10 rounds with such an injury against a pugilist as strong and powerful as Ken Norton has to rank as one of the greatest displays of courage in the history of boxing. But Norton's fervent opinion was that he broke Ali's jaw in the last round. That's what I believe, man. No way you're going to sit up there and fight 12 rounds with a broken jaw. Constantly getting hit on it? Wow. And there's Ali getting consoled by Don King after the fight, holding the ice pack to his broken jaw. That guy right there on the right corner, I know, I can't see the white guy right there in the glasses. I know who that is, but I can't think of him. That's not Angelo Dundee, no. I cannot, figure out who that guy is. But yeah. So, if the first Ali versus Norton fight proved the truth of the old styles make fights adage, it also demonstrated how one opportunity can transform a person's life. Now, prior to his battle with Ali, Norton was a single father who could barely make ends meet, and no doubt his impressive performance was a product of being supremely motivated. Before the fight, he was an unknown, a contender, one of many. After the fight, he joined the elite of the division and became a worthy challenger for heavyweight champion George Foreman. As Norton himself put it years later, the first Ali fight gave me a chance to give my son more food, better clothes. A fight with Ali gave me a chance at life, period. Okay, that was Ali-Norton 1. Okay? So now let's take a look at 2. And there's your winner of 1, Ken Norton. Okay? Here we're going to get all 3 of these fights in today. It's 3:20 already, wow. We go to 2. Ali-Norton 2. All right. Ken Norton versus Muhammad Ali 2. September 10th, 1973. The greatest, most desperate hour. Yeah, this was big here. Ali lost this one. We probably don't get the thrill in Manila. You know? Probably would have got Ken Norton versus Joe Frazier. Okay, well, let's talk about Norton Ali 2. Yeah, today is the Ali-Norton Trilogy. Trilogy Monday. It had been years since Muhammad Ali worked with such intensity and purpose. Years since he had forced his body to undergo the torture necessary to reach supreme physical condition. It was 1973, and the former heavyweight champion's entire career, not to mention his prospects for ever regaining the world title, was at stake. At his rugged training camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania, Ali sought to whip his once Adonis-like physique back into top shape. Determined as he was to make amends for what happened the previous March in San Diego, California. There, Ali's career up to this point, a luminous monument to his extraordinary talent, despite his loss to Joe Frazier, had encountered a very unexpected complication. There, the greatest had sustained both a second defeat, this time the little-known contender, Ken Norton, and a broken jaw. So shocking and disheartening was this setback that some speculated Ali's long run at the top of the heavyweight division, a run interrupted only by his forced exile for refusing to join the war effort in Vietnam, may have come to an inglorious end. Yeah, after the Norton fight, a lot of people were saying that was it. Ali is done. Okay, here they are at the weigh-in for the second fight. Norton watching closely. See him in the back. Okay. Ali-Norton 2. see if somebody came in right quick. Yeah, Angelo Dundee. But yeah, the great Angelo Dundee. So, at his rugged training camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. Oh, wait a minute. I went backwards, I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, everything was at stake in this fight, this second fight. Another loss, that would have been it. But the former champion's jaw had healed, and if Ali's ego had yet to fully recover from the drubbing endured at the hands of the unheralded prospect with the bodybuilder physique, his determination and competitive spirit certainly had. He demanded an immediate rematch, and then eschewed the groupies and adoring crowds, the fawning interviewers, and starstruck admirers, and instead spent hour after lonely hour running on trails at Deer Lake. Because yeah, Ali's training camps usually were open to the public and all his fans, but this time he had closed it down. This was huge, yeah. Everything was on the line. Ali surrendered himself to the painful administrations of the silent Cuban, Luis Soria, the man who put Ali through his agonizing routines on the rub-down table. He ran and sparred and chopped wood, and ran some more. And when Angelo Dundee pulled the satin robe from Ali's shoulders in the ring on that September night at the Inglewood Forum, the crowd saw a sleek and confident Ali, 10 pounds lighter than in San Diego, and Ali primed to avenge himself. Ali was in the best shape of his career for that second fight. He had to be. Just Do Boxing is in the building. What's up, Just Do? Ali-Norton Trilogy. Today we on fight number 2, Just Do. Just Do Boxing coming up at 4. Everybody gets to Just Do at Just Do Boxing. Everybody. And you get it right, unbiased, and balanced. Salute, Just Do. Ali-Norton 2. Yeah, there you go. That's fight 2 going on there. Okay, so. But 2 obstacles threatened the former champion's quest for redemption. One was Ken Norton himself, a boxer of talent and toughness, who knew he had whipped Ali once and was confident he could do it again. The other opposing force was one we all confront, Mr. Father Time himself. For while Ali had paid the price in training camp, no fitness regimen could resurrect the extraordinary reflexes, speed, and stamina of his younger self. He had to not only battle Ken Norton, he had to battle brother Father Time, right? Sharp, he was against Norton on this night, but not as sharp as he had been in 1967. While the battle-tested Marine, Norton, with his size, strength, and underrated power, deserved to be regarded as one of the most daunting challenges Ali had ever faced. Yeah, I think Norton won that one too, but the judges didn't. That's what counted, right? Despite this, the early rounds testified to the former champion's renewed dedication to serious training. Dancing swiftly as he snapped out a continuous volley of left jabs, Ali never stopped moving on those nimble feet. Norton doggedly pursued, but was hard-pressed to even get into punching range. And when he did, Ali immediately stifled his attack with a vice grip clinch. The first 3 rounds belonged to the Louisville Lip, and after each, he refused to sit on his stool while being ministered to by Angelo Dundee and Bodini Brown. Yeah, Ali stood up between rounds, the first 3 rounds. Then, 10 or 15 seconds early, he would turn from his corner and skip lightly to ring center, coming out of his corner 10, 15 seconds early, seemingly impatient for the fight to resume, dancing and shuffling in place as if to say to Norton, "See, look at these strong legs and quick feet. I can dance all night. This time I'm ready." Yeah, Ali, he was in much better shape this time. And yet, there was a fly in the ointment, a flaw in Ali's fight thus far. For while he was dancing and controlling matters and winning rounds, his punches were not connecting with force, at least not enough to earn the respect of Norton, who kept boring in, showing no fear of Ali's power. The time when the greatest possessed the coordination to score powerful blows while simultaneously gliding over the surface of the canvas like Gretzky on ice, that was in the past. Perhaps signaling the realization that this was going to be a more difficult ordeal than he had hoped. After round 4, Ali sat down on the stool. He stood up after the first 3 rounds of round 4. He sat down. Okay. Ali said, damn, this young boy ain't going nowhere. I better sit down and get all the rest I can in between. And he didn't run out there no 10, 15 seconds early anymore either. Okay. And as if on cue, Norton came on in the 5th round, cutting off the ring and finding the range for his own left jab. A jab not as quick as Ali's, but every bit as hard, maybe even harder. Norton pounded Ali's body with both hands, struck with 2 left hooks near the end of the round, and at the bell shouted to Ali, "I own you." As he went back to his corner, he told Ali, "I own you." Ali's face bore a weary look. Instead of a glorious return to domination, it was going to be a firefight, and a grueling one at that. Yet Norton told him, "I own you," after that round. But if Ali was unhappy with the course of the fight thus far, the fans at the Inglewood Forum and on closed-circuit television had to admit they were most definitely getting their money's worth. And as round 6 of an already very lively, entertaining heavyweight fight got underway, the pace picked up even more, with Norton closing the distance and firing heavy shots. Both men landed telling blows, Norton with the jab and left hook, and Ali with a series of rights. And the intense action, reflecting a pace more appropriate for middleweights than heavyweights, had the crowd on its feet roaring. Ali got a good shot. He got a good straight right in there, though. And there was no let up as the fight entered the second half, though Ali clearly wanted one. Certainly in the ring again and working to keep Norton at the end of his punches. He attempted to return to the more civil proceedings of the opening rounds, but his adversary Norton would not cooperate. Now clearly out-jabbing Ali and seemingly growing stronger, Norton trapped his quarry in the corner and stunned him with a thudding uppercut. Opening up with both hands, he drove heavy shots to Ali's body, then a right upstairs, a left hook, and another uppercut. And Ali, clearly hurt for the first time, held on. The battle drifted back to ring center, where the proud former champion scored with a series of sharp 1-2. But Norton pressed and then struck with the heaviest blow of the entire fight, a thunderous right to the jaw that must have caused Ali to wonder if his once fractured mandible might give way again. For the first time, it appeared, a shocking repeat win for Norton was more than a distinct possibility. Yep, started looking like Norton was going to do it again. Astonishingly, Ali appeared undiminished in the 8th round, and he boxed with authority until near the end, when Norton stunned him with a perfectly timed counter left hook. The final minute of round 9 saw the heavyweights battle toe-to-toe, neither warrior having a decided edge. Both rounds were close, and so was the 10th round, as Ali outboxed his nemesis for its majority, but it was Norton connecting with the damaging blows near the end, including a left hook that violently snapped back Ali's head. Then came the 11th, Norton's best round of the fight. Clearly fresher and stronger now, he bowled his quarry into the ropes, viciously pounding Ali's body with both hands. Yeah, 11th round, he got Ali back on the ropes and just pounded on him. And so, as the bell rang to start the final round, See, this was a non-title fight, 12 rounds back then. Like non-title 10 now, 12 rounds. And so as the bell rang to start the 12th and final round, there was the sense the decision could go either way. Ali versus Norton 2 would be decided by its final 3 minutes. And here, the extra road work Ali did in Deer Lake paid huge dividends. For it was Ali who emerged from his corner, firing on all cylinders, his fists churning, blasting Norton with a series of whip-like combinations, his right hand connecting flush, and forcing Norton to take his first involuntary backward steps of the fight. And incredibly, after 11 torrid rounds, Ali was up on his toes again, dancing and striking with clean jabs and follow-up rights. And even after absorbing 4 heavy left hooks from Norton, it was Ali who dazed Norton with a right and a pair of uppercuts before throwing a flurry at the bell. The last round was Ali's, and with it, the fight. Yeah, I would have gave him a draw that one. Yeah, the judges, they didn't think so, and that's who counts. But by veritable whisker, the final decision was split. One judge scoring for Norton, the other 2 for Ali. An unofficial poll of ringside journalists saw 8 votes for Ali and 6 for Norton, while several others scored it a draw. There was pressure little separating the 2 men, and even after the decision was announced and Ali's hand was raised, Ali appeared not at all satisfied. He accepted the congratulations of his admirers, but made no effort to hide his disappointment. He had been taken to the brink and now knew that no matter how hard he pushed himself in training, the supreme edge of his game, the unique blend of elusiveness, speed, and sharp punching, was unlikely to ever return. Surrounded by his handlers and praised for his win and for being in tremendous condition, Ali gave a rueful smile. "I'm in good condition, but I'm more tired than usual." And here he paused as if reluctant to admit a hard-learned lesson. "Because of my age," he added. "If I wasn't in this shape, no way I could have won." And he went on to praise Norton as the next best in the world after myself. In fact, he would later say that Joe Frazier aside, Norton was a better boxer than any he had ever faced. Yeah, he gave Norton his props. Such words helped ensure the narrow defeat diminished no way Norton's standing as a new and potent force in the division. Indeed, his next fight was for the World Championship, a violent knockout loss to George Foreman in Venezuela. Ali, realizing he could no longer afford to cut corners in training, maintained his renewed commitment to conditioning in the months ahead. His newfound discipline enabling him to defeat Joe Frazier in their rematch the next year, and then in a great upset to regain the world title from Foreman in the legendary Rumble in the Jungle. But neither triumph would have been possible, not to mention Ali's widespread status as arguably the greatest heavyweight of all time, had he not secured victory against Ken Norton in their high-stakes rematch, an intense and action-packed battle, which may well be regarded as Ali's most desperate hour. Okay? All right, let's get this third fight in. The rubber match. It's 1-1. Norton took 1. The judges gave Ali 2. Let's go to the rubber match. Okay? Let's go to the rubber match. Ali-Norton 3. The final fight in a legendary rivalry. Okay? September 28th, 1976. Muhammad Ali versus Ken Norton 3. The final fight in a legendary rivalry. And it was legendary. We don't get them like that anymore. Okay. Okay. Had to wet my whistle. Okay, let's finish this thing off. Let's land the plane now. Ali-Norton 3. This was in 1976. In a time of constant media exposure and 15-second attention spans, it is almost impossible to fully appreciate the larger-than-life fame and popularity of Muhammad Ali in the 1970s. The term living legend has become a meaningless cliche, but after stunning the world by dethroning George Foreman in 1974, Ali really did become the stuff of legend and myth, was truly larger than life. Now, the win over George Foreman, remember, was in between the second and third Norton fights, okay? So the third Norton fight was for the title. This was the first 15-round fight between the two, was the rubber match. Now, having stood up to the might of the United States government, Ali had in the end prevailed, a most improbable outcome. He had been stripped of the world heavyweight title and the right to compete for over 3 years after refusing to be drafted into the military. But then, to the astonishment of all, he regained the championship by defeating the most awe-inspiring heavyweight puncher since Joe Louis. Just as a vindication, not to mention political significance, attached itself to Ali's resurgence, making it all bigger than sports. And Ali, who had already become bigger than boxing prior to his stand against the Vietnam War, assumed the proportions of a demigod. The adulation spanned the globe, and the world could not get enough of him. Here he is with his book, The Greatest, My Own Story. He was still active when that one was written. They had books, movies, comics, TV shows, everything about Ali. Now, the greatest talk frequently about retirement in those days, but fame can be a prison. There were far too many people wanting to see the next Muhammad Ali fight, and far too much money at stake for everyone involved. For many, Ali was a hero and an inspiration, but for the promoters, his manager, the television networks, his huge entourage, the media, and the sport of boxing itself, he was a lifeline, a living conduit for cold, hard cash. Books, television specials, comics, posters, games, toys, movies. Muhammad Ali was everywhere. Retirement? Forget it. Not just the most famous athlete in the world, but now one of the most famous people to ever walk the earth. Ali was simply put too successful for his own good. Look at this. He even went up against Superman in one of the comic books. Remember that one? I had that one. Superman versus Muhammad Ali. Oh, Dre probably remember that one. Mike Rim probably do too. Mike says, if ducking was going on back in the day, like it is today, a lot of these fighters would still be alive and healthy. That is a great point there, Mike. Yes, that is an excellent point. A lot of them would still be alive and healthy if they ducked like these fighters did. They would have took all that punishment, plus 15 rounds, and it wasn't just these little rinky-dink stoppages. You basically had to put a man down for the 10 count back then. It wasn't all that jumping in when somebody land 3 punches straight and stop the fight. You had to stand in and go out on your shield. But excellent point, Mike Rim. But yeah, right there, Muhammad Ali versus Superman. That's how big he had got. I had that comic book too. Probably would be worth some money now if I had it in good shape. Okay, but of course, the fact overlooked at the time was that Ali happened to preside over the most competitive heavyweight division in history. Neither before nor since have there been so many big, powerful, gifted boxers north of 200 pounds. And while on occasion, Ali enjoyed an easy outing against the likes of a Richard Dunn or John Pierre Koopman, the expectation remained that a true champion must defend his title against the very best. And in the 1970s, that meant such dangerous killers as Joe Frazier, Ron Lyle, and Ernie Shavers, and of course, Ken Norton. And to add to Mike Rim's point, not only did they not duck, but they got in there against the best. That added to all the damage they had to take. Wasn't too often you get in there against the 15th, 20th ranked contender. Now every fight wasn't against the top, but the majority of them was on a regular basis. To add to Mike's point. So yeah, no ducking, and the best fought the best on a consistent basis. Right? There's Ali and Norton in the promotion leading up to the rubber match, third fight. Okay. Yeah, Ali versus Superman, Jarrell. I had that comic book. That was an actual comic book, yeah. Uh-huh. I can't remember who won now, though. Probably was a draw. Okay. By 1976, Ali and Norton were old rivals, having split two close battles back in 1973. Of course, the first fight in San Diego will always be remembered as the Battle of the Broken Jaw. Ali, on the comeback trail after his defeat to Joe Frazier, entered the ring in something less than prime condition and paid the price when Norton, then a little-known contender, not only scored the upset victory, but sent Ali to the hospital with a fractured mandible. Okay? Yeah, it was the Battle of the Broken Jaw. Now, Ali insisted on an immediate rematch and whipped himself into perhaps the best condition of his career. But Ali versus Norton 2 was another tough, close struggle. And while Ali won by split decision, Norton's cross-arm defense, powerful jab, and counter-punching skills again gave the greatest all kinds of trouble. If the narrow victory paved the way for Ali's rematch win against Frazier, and then his George's coronation in Africa in 1974 against Foreman, there remained a widespread impression that unfinished business existed between the two, Ali and Norton. After Ali outlasted Smoking Joe in the grueling Thriller in Manila, an Ali versus Norton rubber match became the biggest fight in boxing. Yeah, that was all he had left to do. He had beat Foreman. He won the Trilogy against Frazier. Still had unfinished business, though. Him and Norton was 1-1. And was no way back in that era they was going to leave something 1-1 like that. No, they had unfinished business. There they are again in the lead up to the rubber match. Ali and his crew trying to intimidate Norton. But Norton ain't the least bit bothered by that. Now, despite a crushing knockout loss to Foreman in 1974, Norton had maintained his high standing with stoppage wins over Ron Stander and Jerry Quarry. Ali versus Norton 3 to decide once and for all who was the better man became a huge attraction, resulting in the biggest payday in boxing history up to that point. $6 million for Ali, while the live gate was inhibited by a New York City police strike and the resulting chaos. Millions around the world viewed the fight on closed circuit television. Yeah, 6 million in 76. What is that now? 20? Something like that? I guess, I'm not sure. But it's a whole lot more than 6 million, nowadays. But that's what Ali got at the time. The Autism Boy, Cottage One. What's up, Autism Boy? You late? But salute. Good to see you today, Autism. We talking about the Ali Norton trilogy. The rubber match now. It's 1-1. Norton broke Ali's jaw in 1. Ali got the revenge in the rematch. And now we're getting ready to see who won the rubber match. Salute, Autism Boy. How are you today? Good to see you. Okay. So now, more than 4 decades later, almost 5, boxing fans still argue about this fight and the judge's decision, that third fight, right? A myth that has accrued over the years that Norton was the victim of an obvious robbery, that Ali in no way deserved the razor-close, though unanimous decision he received after 15 rounds, right? But in truth, just like their first 2 fights, Ali versus Norton 3 was highly competitive, at times difficult to score. And while Norton may have got the better of it by a shade, No blatant larceny took place. Yeah, you can't call it a robbery. Although, I think Norton, like many people thought Norton won, but not a robbery. It wasn't that wide of a fight to call it a robbery. In the history of controversial heavyweight decisions, this was less. Wade not nowhere near Lewis versus Walcott or Foreman versus Briggs. And more, say, like Holmes versus Witherspoon or Jimmy Ellis versus Floyd Patterson. Yeah, you can't call it a robbery, no. And the fact remains that in a close fight, and especially against a hugely popular champion, nothing can be taken for granted. Now, this is where Norton missed. Before the final round, Norton's corner made the fatal error of telling their fighter the decision was in the bag, just play it safe. They instructed him and make sure Ali doesn't get lucky in the last 3 minutes. By contrast, Ali fought round 15 like his life depended on it, somehow summoning the strength and energy to dominate it. First 2 minutes of the final round, as the crowd chanted Ali, 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 and thus saving his title by the slimmest of margins. Had Norton thrown caution to the wind and taken that final round, he would have won by split decision. Like when I said the first fight was significant when Norton kept his foot on the gas and finished strong. He did not do this in this fight. He took his foot off the gas and it cost him. Knowing the judges looking for a way to give it to Ali, and if he took his foot off the gas in the 15th round, Ali dominated the round, and that's all the opening the judges needed to give it to Ali. So that was a fatal mistake. And his corner, I don't know why a corner ever tell a fighter to take their foot off there, but they told Norton, just take it easy, stay away from it. That's crazy. And it cost him. If he'd have fought that final round as hard as Ali did and won it, Norton would have won that fight. But he let Ali dominate the last round and it cost him big time. But while Ali has succeeded in eking out a very close points verdict, he had done so on little more than guts and gall. Anyone watching with a critical eye had to see he was at the end of the road. Less than 2 years before, he had looked magnificent against Foreman, but now his timing seemed off, his legs sluggish, his chin more vulnerable than ever. The undeniable truth was that Ali's brutal war with Joe Frazier, the thriller in Manila the year before, had extinguished his prime, and his hectic schedule of public events and exhibition fights, not to mention his farcical battle with Antonio Inoki, which had put him in the hospital with serious leg injuries 3 months before, was also taking a significant toll. Yeah, but Ali went on to fight like 5 more times after that. He had 2 Spinks fights. He had Berwick, Holmes, I think Shavers. Yeah, he kept going. Yeah, that would be nice to watch those on the. What's up, Aunt McQueen? Salute, Aunt McQueen in the building. Yeah, but Norton took his foot off the gas and it cost him. You fight Muhammad Ali, you got to finish, but his corner told him to. That's the crazy part, right? Why would you tell your fighter that? Whereas the first fight, he finished strong. He had a lead going into the final round in the first fight, but he finished. He dominated Ali in the last round. And Norton probably clearly the younger, fresher man, but hey, that's what happened. Hindsight is 20/20 vision. Okay. But if ever there was a time for Muhammad Ali to acknowledge that he was human, like the rest of us, and walk away from the fight game to avoid the beatings and blows that lay ahead, it was after that third tough battle with Ken Norton. According to those closest to Ali, the legendary champion knew it as well as anyone. But how could he stop? Not only thousands of fans in Yankee Stadium, but the whole world was chanting, Ali, Ali, Ali. And while he had the strength and courage to defeat almost any man in the ring, sadly, Muhammad Ali lacked the will to resist the allure of his own legend. There you have it. The Ali-Norton Trilogy. Yep. And yeah, tomorrow we're gonna take a look at let me see. I got it written down. Tomorrow is Tuesday. I believe it's the James Toney. Yeah. And Dave Tiberi situation. We're gonna look at 4 different boxes from like 80s, 90s. The James Toney, Dave Tiberi situation when they fought. And we're gonna look at Donald Curry, Gerald McClellan, his injury, and what happened to him. And I forgot the 4th one, but it was another one. But yeah, Gerald McClellan was really sad. And leading up to that fight, they say he really suffered that brain injury in sparring, because that's what they say. Most of the brain damage is done in sparring. And they said leading up to the fight, he told his trainer he wanted to back out of the fight, right? But his trainer was appointed by Don King, and his trainer wouldn't let him. And he had Emmanuel Stewart was training him before that, but Emmanuel Stewart always made sure his fighters got paid right, and he made sure they didn't suffer no kind of bad injury. He took care of them. And when in order for Gerald McClellan to sign with Don King had a stipulation. He had to fire Emmanuel Stewart. So he did it. And then Don King appointed his new trainer. And yeah, he said he was feeling funny leading into the fight and sparring and everything, and he wanted to back out of it. And his trainer wouldn't let him, and look what happened. The man went blind, like 80% deaf. And during the fight, he wanted to quit. And the trainer told him no. He told him he wasn't feeling right in between one of the rounds before that happened, before he collapsed. And guess what else? Don King called him a dog for quitting, and he didn't pay him for the fight. Didn't pay him. Yep. That was crazy. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Yep. And then Wednesday is going to be some of the biggest trash talkers in boxing. And about 20 huge trash talkers. And then Thursday, our country is going to be the Dominican Republic. We go back to the retired fighters for the profile. This week is going to be the life and career of Vasil Lomachenko, because he is retired officially. For Lomachenko Friday. Yep. But this is the fight week for Bud and Canelo. It started. It started. Yeah, that would be good on Tadros Corner, Sharma. All 3 of these fights. Yeah. But yeah, we're in fight week, man. This fight is so interesting. I'm excited. And then we got Monster MJ too. Yeah. So next Monday, man, I hope everybody get there early, because I think next Monday whole show gonna be the link. We do the fight of the day next Monday, and then like 2:30, just drop the link in. Bud and Canelo and Monster MJ for the entire show. Yeah. So everybody pull up early next Monday, because that's gonna be our show. We're just going to talk about the fights. This weekend. What it'll be last weekend by next Monday, right? That's what we're going to do. Yeah, Monday. Because, man, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just excited for it. Bud Canelo, Monster MJ. This weekend, we're in fight week. Las Vegas. So we'll see what happens. But now we get ready to pull up on Just Do Boxing. But yeah, tomorrow we got, let me see who that 4th person was. Light. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. We got the James Toney, Dave Tiberi fight and what it brought. We got Donald Curry, the Lone Star Cobra, was special, but didn't fulfill his vast potential. We got what is the real story about Gerald McClellan's brain injury. Okay, yeah, it's just those 3. Yeah. Oh, no, the other one is Michael Nunn, the boxer that he did like 15 years in prison on drug charges. He was selling drugs, and he sold some drugs to an undercover federal agent. Yeah. did 15 years. And it was like he really got way too much time for what the, charge, what he should have got, they say, but yeah. He paid for it. 15 years of his life. But he's out now. I think he got out like 2015. This happened like 2004. He got out in 2015. Yep. And we're going to talk about him tomorrow too. Yep. But I appreciate everybody that came through today. Aunt McQueen, Autism Boy, Just Do Boxing, BBO Sports TV, Kensaw Love 1, Jarrell Hattie, Dre Finest, Michael Gray II, Chawa, Keon Carr, Mike Rim, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody 1000%. We'll be back tomorrow with another one. Because if it's Monday through Friday at 2 p.m., it's the Box Story bringing you all of that boxing history. Everybody have a great afternoon. I will holler at y'all tomorrow. Have a good one.